Yeah, so I mean, as far as what I heard the general brought out was that there was pretty much two sets of these Orthodox Jews, these Jewish people who eventually, for one reason or another, they separated from each other. And as they separated from each other, of course, the Jewish people who was in the synagogue kicked this other group of Jewish people out of the synagogue and wouldn't allow them to come in there, and I guess worship or do whatever foods work that they do in there. And so, as a result, the Jewish people knew of the underground tunnels that were built. You understand? Because there was a time before the COVID where they would go into these what they call them, mistoffs, or these bathhouses or whatnot. They call it something else, which this whistleblower was breaking down how they had like a, a rape assembly line of children, and really we could go into that too because I got that information. But they were going to these bathhouses, and during COVID they closed it up because it was of course it was COVID, right? So they had to limit that. So they ended up going through these tunnels and breaking into the they call it the synagogue, and they broke in there so that they can physically beat and harm the people who had previously kicked them out. And they pretty much just went to war with each other. So they went through them tunnels to get at them Jewish people that kicked them out so that they can whoop their ass. And that's pretty much what they are. And that's God's truth, right? According to the world. That sounds like something else. That sound like some gutter. That sound like they coming from the gutter.
Right. That's what it sounds like, quite literally.
Quite literally. I made a post on Twitter too. It's funny. I think it's funny as hell. But because New York always gets criticized for rats. Stopperwine, I'm sure you can attest to this. Most people, they think of New York, they think of hip hop, they think of tall buildings, they think of pizza and Nas and Jay-Z, but then they also think of rats. And you know what?
True.
I was one of those people. I used to suffer from the ratism of New York City, that disease that just makes you think of rats in New York. Yeah. But you know what? I've been healed. And I finally realized who the real rat in New York actually is. It's not a rodent. It's not a rodent at all. It's not a mouse. It's not a rat. It's the Jewish man. The Jewish man is the actual rat of Brooklyn. He's the real rat of the Bronx. He is the rat of New York. You understand? And they proved it by crawling out them tunnels like rats, like they Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or whatnot. If you've seen the video, it's funny. They are hilarious. I don't see how people take them serious, man. They are so hilarious crawling out of them tunnels, looking with the hats, man.
No, that is hilarious. And you know what's crazy about that? And I'm gonna say it, even though Yarmark didn't say it, but I'm gonna say it. Mm-hmm. When me and Yarmark was just in New York, World too. But when we was in New York, I know y'all had left, but we stayed behind or whatever. We was just chilling all day, getting ready to go out that night. Mm-hmm. Me and Yarmark walking up the block. We walking up.
I forgot about this.
And if on the corner where the school is, basically on the corner of 124th and 3rd Avenue. We're walking up to 2nd Avenue, and there's like a little, like a lot. There's like a parking lot that we was about to walk through, but then some lady yelled at me and was like, "Nigga, don't you dare!" And I was like, all right, whatever. I'll just keep walking. Mm-hmm. But right as we're walking there, a gigantic rat scurries across. And Yarmark was like, "Yo." And I'm like, and I'm from New York. I'm like, I can't even front. I'm like, that's crazy. A giant rat. But anyways, I gotta show a picture based on what Yarmark just said. Now, mind you, don't clip us. YouTube, Instagram, X, Facebook. We are just all we're doing is talking about what the people have been saying. That's all we're doing. This is these do not express the opinions of the. We're just telling you what the people have been saying. That's all. But check this out. I want to show a picture that the Anti-Defamation League posted on their website, because unfortunately, this horrible incident has been causing so much anti-Semitism. The anti-Semitism has just been horrible and foul. And look at the kind of images the people are saying when it comes to the good Jewish folks of New York City. Look what they're showing them as. This is terrible. Look at this. Come on, man. Come on, man. How you gonna show them like this, man?
I said it first.
Yep.
That's crazy. This is crazy. You're gonna put a Abe Lincoln top hat and a said this is what they're saying they're the real rats in the sewers. They're the real rats under the ground, man. That's what they're saying, bro.
Right.
It's so unfortunate, but it's the crazy part about it is how real it is. So let me just read a little something, if I could, Bob Kashaw, briefly. I'm gonna read something real brief. Shalakia. Oh, I'm not getting rid of this photo either. How do I want to make sure this stays up? So let me get rid of this website. Okay. Y'all just keep looking at Stuart Little over here.
Ratatouille
with the top hat. Yeah, Ratatouille or Ratatouille. Look at Ratatouille right there, and you just look at him while I read this. Okay, so look at this information. This is crazy. This is the background of what Yarmak was saying. It says Hasidic Jewish teens. Now listen, these are the people who perpetrated this whole thing. These are teenagers. It says Hasidic Jewish teens hired migrant laborers to dig secret tunnel under their sex headquarters after starting the project themselves and putting dirt in their pockets, source claims. The migrants were living in the vacant building next door, which the boys wanted the synagogue to expand into. A dozen boys were arrested Monday when they tried to prevent the work from being undone. Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson, seen as the Messiah by some in the group, instructed his followers to expand his former home or redemption. Young members of a Hasidic group in Brooklyn secretly hired migrant workers to notice that they secretly hired migrant. You know what that means. To dig a tunnel under their Brooklyn headquarters when their elders refused to expand the sanctuary. 6 members of the Chabad Lubavitch group first began digging on their own, using crude tools in their own hands, stuffing dirt into their pockets to hide the project from their synagogue's leaders, according to the New York Post. Here's a quote. You've seen the movie The Shawshank Redemption? That's what these young men did at first. They dug and put the dirt in their pockets. Chabad Lubavitch member Eaton Kalmowitz told the outlet. The young men then reportedly did a collection to pay migrants to finish the job they started, and the workers lived at the abandoned building next door while the project continued. The building next door and an abandoned ritual bathhouse is where the boys were hoping to expand their synagogue at 770 Eastern Parkway, as apparently mandated by the sect's late Messiah, Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson. Oh boy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
There's a little bit more, but I want to get, bro. Teenagers. So they're quite literally now. So they're already calling them Ninja Turtles because they're underground. They also are teenagers. They have every part except for the turtle part. Even though we of course know that the leader of the Ninja Turtles was, listen, the story is writing itself, ladies and gentlemen. You can't make this up. These kids dug tunnels under the damn place and put the dirt in their pockets so they can try to take back, what I guess they felt was theirs, and so on. Cap, you look like you when you hear this, and then they hired migrant workers to do this work.
Yeah,
when the cops come, they start pulling them out of the holes. Pause. Yeah, right there.
Man, I would
see,
kick,
they
boy.
start out of actual holes, bro.
Yo.
Look at the violence.
I can help. They trying to. Back up. Sitting on top.
They're literally coming out the wall. Yeah, they got into a full skirmish with the police, bro. Yeah, everybody got arrested. Nobody got beat to death. Nobody got shot by the NYPD. Now, you could take 10, but there was 30, 40, 50 so-called Jewish people up in that room going at it with the police. You take 5 black men that don't comply, someone's dead. Period. At the end of that skirmish, a black man is more than likely unalived. Excuse me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But again, we can see easily the spirit of how people view them versus how we're viewed, and as Commandant General Yohana says, or said at that in the Natazab's classic video, which now I'm going to be bumping even more than ever. You know what I'm saying? The real Jews of the Bible, the real Israelites are going through hell in America. Guess what? I'm from New York. All of them buildings, they digging tunnels and all of this. Guess what? They own all of those buildings. All of them. The building they in, they own it. The building they're trying to crawl into, some other so-called Jewish man owns. The building that your grandmother, if she hasn't already been, kicked out of her neighborhood that she's been living in since the 40s, they own that building. They hiking up the rent on your tenement buildings and all of this stuff. All that stuff down there in Brooklyn, all them new developments down there, downtown Brooklyn, Crown Heights, Fort Greene, all of that, they own all of it.
Meanwhile,
go ahead.
Meanwhile, you can't even extend your deck past a certain limit without a permit.
Exactly.
You can't even make modifications to your own house without having to pay extra money, but they can dig tunnels. They can do whatever.
Dig tunnels. They can, you're absolutely right, brother. It's a completely different thing. And I tell you, if you were to uncover it, because I could do it, man. We go into a whole series on it. I've seen it firsthand with my own eyes. I've seen the power of these people in my own neighborhood. I've seen it. I've seen them get a McDonald's closed because they were tired of seeing too many niggas in front of McDonald's. In my neighborhood, where most of the black people lived in like Left Rack, but a lot of it went to high school closer to me. And there was a McDonald's on 108th Street. Everybody went to that McDonald's. Everyone loves McDonald's. It's McDonald's. You almost have never in your life heard of a McDonald's closing down. It just doesn't happen. Well, this McDonald's was a place where a lot of kids after school who might have come from other neighborhoods would congregate in front of this McDonald's. Well, the so-called Jewish man in that neighborhood that he ran and runs until this day, he said, "Nope, we've had enough of it. You go to that same block. This is my block. You go to that block right now. Instead of there being a McDonald's and a sign that says 22 billion people served, now there's a Jewish bakery that no one but Jewish people go to." That's how they do, bro. I've seen them get traffic lights changed. There's another area close to my neighborhood where there was a, they got the like the red light cameras. Like you run a red light, it flash you.
Mm-hmm.
It was there for like a year. They complained and got it taken down. That's the kind of power that these people have, man. And I see that they didn't get that power by being sweet, old, nice, biblical, the saints, as the Bible says the Israelites are. No, they get it through violence, man. They get it through violence and being vile and disgusting and digging tunnels and crawling on their belly like an actual rat.